Welcome to SVR IAS Academy. ComeOnIndia.com is our website. Today's date is 17th January 2017. In today's current affairs online video lecture, you are going to learn four important topics. The first one is about GST implementation. GST stands for Goods and Services Tax. At present in India, various indirect taxes are levied and the tax rates are not uniform across India. So different states are imposing different indirect tax rates. So the purpose of the goods and service tax to have the uniform national level single indirect tax system. So the ultimate objective is to have a single uniform rate for a particular item. So a particular item, the indirect tax will be same across the length and breadth of India. So the GST needs Constitutional Amendment Act. It is passed recently and President of India has given its approval, but few areas needs to be addressed and consensus is slowly evolving, and GST Council met for the 9th time recently in Delhi. The GST Council is nothing but is a most powerful council and it is headed by Union Finance Minister and the members are state finance ministers. The decisions are taken based on the consensus. So according to the earlier plan, GST will be implemented from April 1st, 2017. But some areas need to be addressed, so the implementation date for the goods and services tax was postponed to July 1st, 2017. One of the important area of concern is about dual control. Who will have the exclusive authority over taxpayers? Taxpayers who have the annual turnover of 1.5 crore or less than that or more than 1.5 crore, who will have the exclusive control, whether central government or the state government. So the GST Council met and discussed the issue in length and finally it was decided that two areas. If a taxpayer has annual turnover of less than 1.5 crore means 90% of such taxpayers will be controlled by state governments and 10% of such taxpayers will be controlled by center. What about the taxpayers whose annual turnover is more than 1.5 crores? In that situation, states and center will have equal say. So 50-50%. So center and state will control or have exclusive control over taxpayers whose annual turnover is more than 1.5 crores. Another important area of concern is about levying tax on the high seas. As you might be aware that most of the India's trade, not only India's trade, almost all countries' trade occurs through sea route. More than 70 or you can say 70 to 80% of India's trade occurs through oceans. Who will have the power to levy tax on the high seas? It was a contentious issue between center and state government. Constitutionally, central government has the exclusive jurisdiction over territorial waters. But after negotiations in the 9th GST Council meeting, it was decided that state governments will be empowered to levy tax on high seas. High seas means within 12 nautical miles. It's a very important point for the prelims examination. So, the whatever economic activity happens within 12 nautical miles from the offshore, state governments will have the power to tax on such economic activity. What do you mean by high sea? Look at the image. It is the beach line, or you can say territorial baseline. From here, 12 nautical miles means is the distance. Within this jurisdiction, states or state governments will have the exclusive control on levying tax on such economic activities. So from this region, it is called as contiguous zone, and up to 200 nautical miles, it is called as exclusive economic zone. You might have studied about UNCLOS, United Nations Convention on Laws of Seas, stands for UNCLOS. According to the International Convention UNCLOS, every country has exclusive jurisdiction up to 200 nautical miles. What about beyond 200 nautical miles? This region open to everyone. No country can claim this region. So international trade can occur freely without bothering about other country. If a country's ship, say China's ship, goes through it, means we can't stop. But if the ship wants to enter India's exclusive economic zone, means the ship has to get permission for the entry. And also, all the natural resources available in the ocean bed belongs to India in the exclusive economic zone, that is 200 nautical miles from the territorial baseline. So this topic is very important for the prelims and mains examination. So prepare thoroughly on this topic. Now you are going to learn about Universal Income Transfer Scheme. Universal Income Transfer Scheme. What is it? In India, we have more than 130 billion population. Not all people are employed. Unemployment rate in India is in the range of 4 to 5%. That means for every 100 people, 4 to 5 people are unemployed. And according to various estimates, around nearly half of the population of India are living below poverty line. There is a growing concept in the international issue is about providing the universal income transfer scheme. It means for the poor people and for the unemployed youth, provide some basic money every month, like providing 2000 rupees to the unemployed youth or to the BPL families every month free of cost. So it's called as Universal Income Transfer Scheme. The word universal means without targeting the people, the money should be provided to all. But in India, there is a confusion whether to go for Universal Income Transfer Scheme or for a targeted approach. Finland recently became a nation which opted for Universal Income Transfer Scheme. So it's a growing concept. It's one of the important area for the prelims 2017 IAS examination. So let's discuss the topic in detail. To get the complete video lecture on this topic, visit our website comeonindia.com. In the Union Budget 2017, Government of India is considering Income Transfer Scheme. Income Transfer Scheme may be implemented in the 2017 Union Budget. Once implemented, Income Transfer Scheme may form the basis of a national social security system. But there is a confusion behind this concept, whether to go for the universal approach or better target the most vulnerable people. Irrespective of the economic level, whether the basic income should be provided to all or the money should be given to the most vulnerable people. The consensus is emerging for the second option, to provide the most valuable resources to the most vulnerable people. The scheme is necessary because it will help to address the poverty and level of unemployment in India. If government provides 1,500 rupees per month, and India estimated poor will be around 200 million, or you can say 20 crore population, then the cost will become 3 lakh crore rupees every year. So economically it is a tough task to follow, but it may become possible because of the demonetization impact, and if GST or goods and service tax is rolled out. If goods and services tax is implemented successfully, means the GDP growth will increase 1 to 2% according to various estimates. At present, we are growing nearly 7 to 7.5%. If GST is implemented, then we can aim for the double-digit growth. 9 to 10% growth we can expect. So according to various analysts, it is better to target the groups who need the money the most, especially the unemployed people with no source of income. So funds should be placed in the account of the woman of the household so that the fund will be utilized better. Some people argue that people are dragged into poverty because of the drought situation, declining agriculture opportunities, diseases, and so on. So that the safety net should be wide enough, and we should go for the universal basic income scheme instead of targeting people. So the opinion is divided whether to go for the universal one or to target the people. So government will decide about it. If government wants to target the beneficiaries, how can it do so? Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana accounts and socio-economic and caste census of 2011 will form the backbone for selecting the targeted people. So we already discussed about Finland. Finland recently announced a basic income scheme for anyone seeking employment. So don't forget, Finland can be asked in the prelims examination and also in any other banking examination. Another important point is about Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir became the first Indian state to commit to the idea of universal basic income. The concept was been announced in the recent budget in 2017. So Jammu and Kashmir became the first Indian state to announce the universal basic income scheme. You might have studied about fiscal deficit, current account deficit, and many other deficits in the economy. We explained all the concepts in our economy online video lectures. What do you mean by fiscal deficit? It is a difference between total revenue and total expenditure of the government. So in a particular year, what is the difference between total revenue and total expenditure? If it goes in the negative, then it is called as fiscal deficit. For example, if government earns 1000 rupees in a year and expenditure is 1500, means the difference is minus 500. So the amount will be converted as a percentage of GDP. So government aims to reduce the fiscal deficit to the 3% of the GDP in the financial year 2018. So don't forget the target, 3% of the GDP. Third topic that we are going to discuss is about MTP Act 1971 and the proposed amendments to the MTP Act. We strongly advise you to prepare on this topic thoroughly for the IAS interview in the 2017 and also for the 2017 prelims and mains examination. It's one of the very important area, and Supreme Court gives judgments very often on the issue, because according to the MTP Act 1971, abortion cannot be performed by doctors beyond 20 weeks of gestation. Don't forget the point, 20 weeks is one of the important prelims point. So at any condition, abortion cannot be performed if the fetus age is beyond 20 weeks. What about if a fetus is found with any anomaly after 20 weeks, say 21 weeks, 22, 24, and if the condition threatens the survival of the mother and baby, law will not permit on the issue. So the many NGOs and activists appeal to the government and Supreme Court to do away with the 20 weeks limit. Government proposed many amendments and is waiting for the Parliament approval, and often Supreme Court has given its judgment, and recently a woman with 24 weeks of gestation approached the Supreme Court and the baby had no skull, only brain development occurred and baby does not have skull. Surely the baby is going to die after birth. So it became one of the important issue. Before 20 weeks, the doctors couldn't make any diagnosis, and after that, doctors diagnosed about the case, and the lady appealed in the Supreme Court for undergoing abortion at the week of 24. Supreme Court permitted the case to undergo for abortion. So there are so many demands are emerging. In this background, you should know what are all the amendments proposed to the MTP Act 1971. The news we already discussed about 24 weeks pregnancy abnormality, we already discussed. And what are the important amendments proposed? The important amendment is that the 20 weeks limit should be abolished for selective fetal abnormality that is incompatible with life. As already we discussed, the law at present allows medical abortion only till 20 weeks of pregnancy. But some selective fetal abnormalities can be detected only after 20 weeks of gestation period. So the amendment has been proposed to do away with the 20-week limit, abolish the 20-week limit. So abortion can be done at any time for the selective fetal abnormalities, only in the selective cases. Another point is that women should not be forced to move to the Supreme Court for permission for the termination of the baby, because whatever the case is coming in the Supreme Court is educated, economically affordable. What about the uneducated women who stay in the rural areas and detected with abnormality at the age of 24 weeks of gestation or beyond that? Rural woman does not have the knowledge to approach Supreme Court or does not have the money. So in this condition, women should not be forced to go to the Supreme Court for the termination of the pregnancy. So once the amendments approved by the Parliament and signed by the President of India means, women can approach the doctor if the condition fits into the selective cases listed in the amendment. Doctor can do the abortion at any time. So 20 weeks limit will not apply. Then what are all the other amendments proposed to the MTP Act 1971? So already we discussed one point, that is no gestational limit will be applied in case of diagnosis of the severe fetal abnormality. The second point is that increase the gestational limit to 24 weeks. At present 20 weeks limit is there. Increase the weeks to 24 and no limit for the fetus with a severe abnormality. And who can perform the medical abortion? At present, the doctors who are trained have the permission to do medical abortion, but availability of such doctors is very limited. So in India, unsafe abortions are high. It poses threat to the maternal health. So another proposed amendment says that we need to expand the service providers. Apart from doctors, homeopathy doctors, nurses, midwives should be also trained to do medical abortion. So these are the important amendments proposed to the MTP Act 1971. Now we'll move to the fourth and last topic of the day, that is WhatsApp case. What is the background? WhatsApp was started in 2010 and it emerged as the largest instant message app that was started in 2010. The recent issue is that Supreme Court has agreed to hear the case. The case is that the company started in 2010 till 2014. Its privacy policy is clear. The privacy policy says that the personal details of the users will not be shared to any party. In 2014, Facebook acquired WhatsApp, and recently in August 2016, the privacy policy of the WhatsApp has been changed and it allows the personal details, photos, documents of the users will be shared with Facebook. Here, privacy of the users comes into picture. So many cases has been filed in various courts, including Supreme Court. Public interest litigations has been filed. Initially, Supreme Court said that if you are using the free service, you should object to the privacy policy, otherwise don't use the WhatsApp. But recently, Supreme Court has agreed to examine whether Facebook's access to the details of the calls, messages, photographs of the WhatsApp users violates right to privacy of the citizens or not. So Supreme Court's larger bench will hear the case. The litigants claim that WhatsApp has become the public utility service. So many departments are using WhatsApp for the redressal of the grievances and for other purpose. So it became the public utility service. So if the WhatsApp shares the user's personal details to the Facebook, then it violates the citizens' right to speech and expression guaranteed under Article 19, right to privacy that is guaranteed under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. So the litigants say that the population who created the data are the real owner of the data. So the data should not be shared with Facebook. So it is one of the important area for the prelims and especially for the mains in GS paper 2. So prepare thoroughly on this topic. If you like the video lecture, share the video lecture with your friends who are preparing for the IAS 2017 examination. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get instant notification whenever we release our video lectures. To get more video lectures for prelims, mains and current affairs, visit our website commandindia.com, and thank you.